Here you go, Brad and Emily.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. Thank you to you all for having us here. It is genuinely an honor. We started digital theatre back in 2009, just a ragtag band of people from the theatre industry, with the idea of trying to democratize access to the arts. That was the initial concept, to go out and record theatre productions initially in London, to make sure that people around the world could get to see them and get to experience them and hopefully be inspired by these works. A couple of years later, in 2011, we realized that there was some pretty big potential here to have an impact in the education world. And that's when we launched Digital Theatre Plus, which is the education platform. That started out, we started providing it to schools, mostly in the UK to begin with, and then soon we had interest from the US and further afield. And it was from there that we started to really understand the potential that this could have in terms of impacting kids' lives. We ended up working with kids, in very rural places that had no arts access whatsoever, and we're able to give them access to theatre productions. Initially, as I said, in London, but we soon started building partnerships with theatres and theatre companies across the world, the UK, the US, Australia, India, Japan, truly all over the planet. But we also realized that lots of kids in cities like London, like New York, that have a strong arts heritage, often still those kids weren't necessarily able to go to the theatre all of the time. So that's where we really started working in partnership with schools across the US to make sure that we were able to, one, give these kids access. As Peter said, a big part of this is that the kids can access this from home, but also make sure that we can support their teachers as well. So we started working with all kinds of different organizations to make sure that we have state standard aligned lesson plans, teaching support resources, workshops, and a huge list of other things that Emily's going to show you through in a moment. What I'm really kind of, I guess, playing into what Peter was saying with that kind of play through creativity cycle, and the curiosity component of that as well. Something that we like to envision with this is that, perhaps as a homework assignment, you'll have the kids go home and watch, I don't know, an extract from Into the Woods, right? To maybe write a piece on it or come back to class with their thoughts. But they'll watch that, and then instead of kind of binge watching something on Netflix and it says, follow up with this, you might like this. Instead of that, they watch something there, and then something might catch their eye on set design or lighting design or costume making or whatever it may be. And that actually they kind of fall down a rabbit hole on this platform, wherein their curiosity will be ignited, and they'll be able to explore independently the world of theatre, potential careers in theatre, and get them excited, get them curious, so that they can start to see a potential career path for them. So that's what we are really trying to do here, as well as, of course, supporting you guys as the educators. But with that, I'm going to hand you over to my colleague Emily to take you through the platform so that you can all see it for yourselves. Thanks.
Hi everyone, it's nice being on this side of the theatre. It's been a while. I'm normally in there watching a West End play or something. Also first time in New York. Your city is gorgeous. I love it. I've been to Central Park. I've been to all the bakeries. So yeah, I'm just having the best time. I've seen a couple of familiar faces. I've been super lucky this year to be working with New York City schools and New York City teachers. You guys are the best. And so there'll also be lots of teachers that I've spoken with on the phone, so it'll be nice to put faces to names. Can I have a bit of a show of hands if anybody's heard of Digital Theatre Plus, if they've used it, if they've trialled it? Yeah? Okay, good few of you, that's fun. Okay, what we'll do is, I'll give you a quick, I'll show you around the platform, give you a bit of an overview of sort of what's popular nearby and what we've kind of got going on. There's a lot of content. There's over 20,000 pages of content. And it's ever growing. We add new content out every single week. It works out roughly as about one new resource added every single day. Also, if at any point during this I say an English word where you just think, I have no idea what she's just said, just shout out and let me know. I said the word chuffed the other day on a call. Apparently that's not an American word. It just means excited. But yeah, this is Digital Theatre Plus. Welcome, everybody. So this is the homepage that you can see in front of you. So when you have a scroll through, we've got the content on there for Raisin in the Sun. We then have a bookmarking tool. So as Peter mentioned before, every student and every teacher at your entire school will get a login to the platform. So we're standards aligned for ELA as well as theatre, but we also have lots of content for music. There's some social emotional learning content on here. There's some bits and bobs for history. We're trying to be as multifaceted and diverse as possible. You then have top picks for theatre and top picks for ELA. That's a bit of a mix of our most recent content as well as our most popular content. So we just added Puffs from Broadway HD. That's been super popular, especially for middle school. Our content is curated for middle school and high school, but again, we have tons of content that bleeds very nicely into the elementary age group, and we also have colleges and universities that are subscribed. I actually used the platform at university in England, and I loved it. So yeah, top picks section, and then we've got lesson planning and prep, because that's always super duper popular, and then we've got some featured titles, so that's a bit of a mix of our current most popular titles on there. You'll see a lot of Shakespeare. We've got the entire works of Shakespeare, so if you want to cover Romeo and Juliet, or Macbeth, or something really niche, there will be lots of content for you. If we have a scroll down, you then have the big green button on the right-hand side, Table of Contents. This is like our encyclopedia, as it were. This is everything on the platform. So there are currently 766 productions. You can subcategorize down the left-hand side, so you can go on to genres, for instance. Do you guys cover musical theatre much? Yeah? Love that. Fab. Okay, so if we went on to musical theatre, we've got 31 musical theatre productions. We're really lucky. We partner with over 50 production companies worldwide, including Broadway HD, where they're exclusive education partner. We love them. They're fantastic. So there's a few of those on there. If we went into 42nd Street, for instance, you'll find, big play button does what it says on the tin, plays the production. And then if you scroll down, the production is then sectioned out into key scenes, acts, monologues. Yeah, that. we love oohs and ahs. Yeah, that's just to save you guys as much time as possible. As Brad mentioned, we're very big on saving teachers time, boosting student engagement, and boosting their understanding. We're big believers in the last two kind of go hand in hand. If they understand something, they're far more likely to engage with it. So, and then when we scroll down, underneath the sectioned out production, you've got a bit about the production, where it was filmed, who directed it, all of that good stuff. And then you have, if you keep scrolling down, different classifications. So if you then wanted to pop into all of our musical theatre content, you can do. Or you can keep scrolling, and there'll be any relating resources on there. So we've got our video content. That's a real mix of e-learning videos, interviews with cast and creative teams. There's a whole bunch of content on there. There's written resources, so these will be essays, workbooks, study guides, all of that fun stuff that you can then just print off and use for homework as well. And then you've got your teaching resources. So if we went into Discover, Explore, Assess 42nd Street, Teacher Notes, we have a lot of different types of lesson plans, but this one's quite a fun one because it basically supports you guys in how to show the production and get the most out of it. So we don't want you guys, sort of like passively putting these productions on and sort of playing them for the lesson, and then sometimes the students can sort of drift in and out. I don't need to tell you guys. So this lesson plan is fantastic because you can print it off or download it in the top right-hand corner. And it basically gives you lots of different exercises and questions to run through before, during, and after watching the production to make sure that you guys can get the most out of it, and so can your students. So then we started adding a lot more technical theatre resources to, again, support you guys, because I've spoken with a lot of teachers that, you know, they did theatre degrees, but they didn't touch a sound deck. I'm one of those people. I would have no idea what to do up there. Down here is much more comfy for me. But yeah, design and technical theatre, we've got study units for this. So if we went on to costume design, for instance, this is basically going to surface 2 to 3 weeks of resources for you to then implement into your teaching. If we have a scroll down, you've got your getting started resources, then you've got your building on the basics, and then you've got a real deep dive. We're big believers in you'll know your students better than anybody else in the world. So, you know, if they're ready to be sort of stretched with the subject, then you've got deep dive on there. But if we went to, for instance, like educational videos, that'll then bring up lots of different videos for you to be showing them. Again, we want to give you guys as much content as possible so that you've got, you know, students just are constantly on TikTok and Instagram nowadays. So after COVID, we've popped on a lot of video content just to re-engage them as much as possible. Lots of them are quite short, easily digestible videos. We've got a lot of bell ringer activities, class starters, exit tickets, things like that. So that's our study unit section. Can I have like a show of hands for middle school teachers? Lovely stuff. Hey guys. Right, well, we've got tons of middle school content as well. If you pop onto browse for me, Brad, and then if you go on to themes, this is quite a fun area of the platform because there's like lots of different courses and themes that are covered. If you click onto all courses and then have a scroll down to the bottom, we've got our younger learners section. There's tons of different amazing topics on here. World theatre is fantastic. Playwriting is amazing. But yeah, younger learners section is great. So this is content that's curated. It's been pre-watched, pre-approved. It's designed for your students. So if we click on to the production side of things, A Christmas Carol is about to get really popular. We've also got tons of poetry recitals and short stories, which we designed for the ELA side of things, but it's actually been super popular for theatre teachers as well. We did a PD session a couple months ago called Slam Poetry, like teaching slam poetry, and that was fantastic. But yeah, those loads of different productions. Again, you can section down the left-hand side. If we go back just for a sec, we then have all of the different videos. We've got different written resources. You've got lesson plans on there. Again, everything has been designed for you guys, just to try and save you guys as much time as possible. If we went into analysing costume design for The Wind in the Willows, this is basically going to be a 50-minute lesson plan that's all prepped and ready for you. So it's going to have a class starter, a bell ringer activity for you. Everything's linked as well, hyperlinked. So if you've got any e-learning videos that are going to be included, they're on there. You've got different time frames for everything, so you can grab and go if you really like an exercise, but you know that you've got a lesson plan that's prepped and ready for the topic of devising, and you like it and it's solid, but you really like XYZ exercise. Just take it out. Again, you can print and download using those buttons there. So that is the sort of technical theatre side of things, middle school side of things. And then if we went over to, let's try theatre standards. Let's show you guys that. So if you head on to browse and then search by theatre standards, this is brand new and shiny. So we started adding this about a month ago. If you click state or authority, you can then find New York, state learning. And then if we went to grade level, if we did like 6th grade, and then whichever standard you're focusing on, if we just go for the first one, identify possible solutions. Oh, it's so nice to hear such lovely feedback in person, because I'm used to doing sort of one-to-one sort of online. That's basically just going to surface tons of content for you guys to, again, just help save you time. Yeah, you can grab and go with all of that stuff. And you can also, again, subcategorize at the top. So if you want to look at specific courses, like the search bar is really intuitive, and you can always then just sort of go from there. But all of those lesson plans and everything's all prepped for you.
We also have a bookmarking tool. So I know I mentioned that earlier, but I like to bookmark lots of content that I think I'll come back to later. If we head onto the homepage, onto the DT Plus logo, and then if we have a little scroll down to bookmarking in the middle, there we go. So a lot of you guys mentioned about technical theatre before, so that's really great. We've got an A to Z of technical theatre, so if you click on that for me, Brad, that basically runs through every single role within the behind the scenes, on stage, everything, because I think a lot of students, I think I was definitely the case where I thought, I really like drama, like that's my subject. I know that I find my people there, I get the buzz there, but I don't necessarily know that like acting's for me. So what else is there that I could maybe go into? And I'm from rural England, there's no one around that I was sort of talking to and, you know, sort of spitballing ideas off of. And this would have been really helpful to just sort of give you a bit of an overview of what all of the different job roles could be that you could consider. Lots of schools and districts are very big on career readiness now, so we're very big on that as well. We want to tick that box as much as possible. We want to inspire students into the arts. If we head back onto the homepage, we also have an amazing series called My West End. My West End is fantastic. It's super popular every single year. It basically is a video series we did a few years ago where we shadowed a day in the life of behind the scenes of the West End. So yeah, so we've got like interviews with the head of wardrobe at Mamma Mia, the head of wigs at Wicked, and it's a 15, 20-minute video that basically takes you through what a day in the life is for them, who they're working with, what their role looks like, how they got into the industry as well, like what their course was. So they're really fantastic if you've got any sort of aspiring, you know, costume designers or lighting designers or whatever it might be. If we head back again, have you guys heard of Frantic Assembly? Yeah? We love Frantic Assembly. We're, again, their educational partner. So we have, exclusively actually for the US, we don't have this in England, which, you know, British teachers are very jealous of, but we have this thing called Frantic Assembly Studio. So this is a lot of their educational behind the scenes kind of work. So these are all of the Frantic productions that we have. Finally, I'll sort of show you a bit of the PD. If you click on the browse button, Brad, just real quick, professional development. It's a new development on the platform. Again, we'd love any feedback, but we have it, it's kind of split in two. So we have it for how to utilize Digital Theatre Plus, how to get round, like a 101 of how to utilize the platform and the content. And then we also have the second part, which is all to do with where we get external speakers. We have a lot of teachers that are part of these PD sessions. If you guys would ever be interested in being a part of them, we'd love that. Slam poetry was super popular, acting essentials, teaching tragic heroes was a couple of months ago. That was a lot of Miller and Shakespeare and that kind of thing. But they're fantastic. They're all completely free for you, and you'll all get sent a certificate after you attend them as well, so they can pop towards your free PD. But that's a bit of a, that's Digital Theatre Plus basically. It's a bit of an overview. Has anybody got any questions? Yeah. Yeah, so we do have some resources for elementary. They're all in the middle school section that we went on before on the browse and courses. So some of things like Wind in the Willows is great for elementary. We have lots of incredible like e-learning videos. We have an amazing series called Spotlight On that goes through, again, all of the different roles in the theatre world. It goes through like world theatre, commedia dell'arte, lots of devising work. So yeah, as much as elementary is not like our core market, there's lots of different content that's good for them. Yeah. Yeah, good question. So that's our sister platform, Digital Theatre. So that's basically for consumer users. Yeah. Yeah, so Digital Theatre Plus is the educational platform for you guys, whereas digitaltheatre.com is more for Mary, who might be really, she's not a teacher.
We'll talk about everything in a second. Yeah. Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you, Emily and Brad.
Thank you, guys.